Good evening, and welcome to your 2016 district meeting. We're glad you are with us tonight. It shows you care about your co-op, and we appreciate that. So far, it's been a very busy year for Central Texas Electric. We have building projects underway, we've completed a rate adjustment, and the board has taken some time to review our bylaws and made some minor appropriate revisions. So without further delay, here's our district report for 2016.
Every now and then, it is necessary to do a complete and detailed review of our bylaws, which is one of the major documents that define how we organize and operate CTEC. The last major review of our bylaws was done in 2012, so we felt it was time to conduct a similar review this past year. Many things can trigger a bylaw change, but mostly they are changed by new laws, better ways of doing business, or just a clarification in the wording of what is already there. During the 2016 bylaw review, 4 areas were identified as needing change. First, the definition of who is eligible for membership is being modified to meet current law. Second, director qualification standards specifically related to the primary residency requirement is explained more clearly and is in line with its original intent. Third, in those rare situations that special board meetings are necessary due to some emergency or time-critical situation, the ability to conduct these meetings is expanding to include email and other electronic means of communication. This will allow the board to more effectively address those emergency or time-critical issues. Fourth, the board is clarifying and in some cases expanding its ability to retire capital credits in the event of a member's death or in certain special situations. All of these proposed changes are very minor, but satisfy legal requirements necessary at this time. Plans are to make these bylaw changes by the end of the year.
Almost all of our facilities have been here for at least 30 years, and some of them for almost half a century. It has become apparent that your cooperative's facilities are in need of some upgrade and improvement. During the past 3 years, your board studied and prioritized what needed to be done. Their decision was to construct a new district office in Mason and expand our Fredericksburg operations facility. The current Mason facility does not meet access requirements, there's no privacy for employees, and it has outgrown the warehouse. The new facility, which is being constructed on Highway 29 just east of Mason, will satisfy your growing co-op's needs for many years to come. It will contain a state-of-the-art communication center, provide ample room for equipment and material storage, and will have a drive-through payment window. Finally, it will provide our employees with workspace that meets the needs of a modern professional workforce. The anticipated completion date for this facility in Mason is sometime in the second quarter of 2017. In Fredericksburg, our operations facility is in need of expansion and updating. Compared to modern repair facilities and efficiency of operations, our current vehicle maintenance facility is outdated. We have a large amount of inventory and vehicles that are stored outside in the elements year-round. Also, our warehouse has exceeded its capacity. Quite simply put, your cooperative has outgrown this aging facility. The new operations center in Fredericksburg will include enough parking bays for all of our vehicles. It will greatly expand our warehouse capacity and give our operations personnel a better working environment. This structure will also house the most up-to-date technology available. During times of multiple outages, this will help us locate, diagnose, and make the best use of equipment and personnel to restore the outages as quickly as possible. The Board of Directors found that by building both projects at the same time, it would result in cost savings. Over the years, Central Texas Electric has seen a large increase in its equity position, which now stands at just over 40%. The construction of both of these facilities will only reduce our equity percentage by approximately 1 to 1.5%. We are financially stable, and now is the right time to update our facilities. We look forward to giving you an updated progress report of the building construction at the annual meeting on August 16th.
Since our rate adjustment in April, I have received a few calls and letters asking questions about the changes. Here's Mike Searcy, the co-op's rate consultant, to give an overview of the new rates.
I work for C.H. Guernsey and Company, and we're an engineering and architecture and consulting firm that's been in business 75 years. Grew up with the electric cooperatives. I've been in the utility business for 35 years. I worked at an electric cooperative in Texas for 20 years. I've been in Guernsey about 15 years doing rates and cost service study. I had to figure it up the other day. I've probably done 100 or 150 rate and cost of service studies since I've been at Guernsey. Part of the process that we work on in a rate and cost of service study is to not just identify how much a cooperative needs to operate. We set up a process to determine what does the cooperative need to operate. You subtract from that how much their current rates are bringing in. If there's a difference, that's how much a rate increase would be. But we also take a look at how much does it cost us to serve each of our rate classes. So we divide up the customers into groups of customers called rate classes. So what does it cost us to read the meters for the residential rate class, or to trim trees, or to calculate bills? And all of these costs are very elaborately assigned, and that whole process takes time. And in addition to that, I think it's very important for cooperative members to understand that one of the instructions that we were given by the management and the board at Central Texas was that we used exactly the same process in developing the rate and cost of service study for Central Texas that we used back in the days when you were regulated by the State Regulatory Commission. One of the really key points here, in fact probably the key point in a rate and cost of service study, is fairness. We want to make sure that our rates are fair and that we recover the fair share of every rate class's cost of service. For purposes of this video, I think we're focusing on the general service residential rate class because that's where the vast majority of Central Texas members are. Think through, how do we incur our costs? What does it cost us to serve a residential customer? Those costs include things like certainly purchase power, but that's just a pass-through. Central Texas makes no margins on the cost of purchase power. That just flows through to our members. But let's think about what else Central Texas does. They have transmission lines, they have substations, they have distribution feeders, they have transformers, they have meters, they have to trim trees, they have to read meters and maintain the line. They have to go out in the middle of the night if there's an outage or a storm to repair all of that. All of that is part of the cost of providing each one of our members in our general service and all of our other rate classes with service. How do we identify what everyone's share of that is? Well, it turns out all of those costs that Central Texas has, above and beyond its power cost, all those costs are actually fixed. They're either fixed just from being a customer, no matter how small you are, or they're fixed based on your peak load, how big your highest load is. An example of that second one would be a transformer. We have to put a transformer out there big enough to serve your highest load whenever it occurs in the year, not the average load around the year. So that's a cost based on your highest peak load. But once we put that transformer out there, that cost is fixed. We can't run out there every month and change it out to a different transformer. It's a fixed cost. And then there's the customer piece, which is based on just being a customer no matter how small. Central Texas, if you think about the cost it incurs building a mile of line, it has just over 6 customers per mile of line. The average nationally for a municipal electric system was something like 50 to 60 meters per mile of line. For an investor-owned utility, something like 30 to 40 meters per mile of line. Well, if we assume that the cost to build a mile of line is about the same, and someone has 30 meters to recover that cost from, and Central Texas has 6, well, you can see that there's a bit of a difference. That's part of the reason that our customer-related cost of providing service may be a little higher So each one of our expenses, as we do our cost of service study, then when we're finished, we can design rates to where our customer charge recovers all of our customer cost. And then this capacity cost is recovered through a blend, since we don't have demand meters and we don't have demand rates on our residential classes, through a blend of customer and energy charges. So if we can do it that way, if we can recover our costs very closely to how we incur our costs, we think that's a very fair way, because it's recovering the cost from the people who cause us to have the cost. I thought a lot about what would be an example of how this works in the real world, and the best example I can think of is, let's imagine a builder builds two absolutely identical houses. They're built right next to each other, they're completed on the same day. Same size, same shape, same floor plan, everything is identical. The only difference is, house number one has a retired couple who travel to visit the grandkids, so they're there just part of the time. And house number two has a family of 4 with 2 teenage kids. Other than that, the houses are exactly the same. Well, of course, the house with the 2 teenage kids, where they live there all the time, is going to have monthly bills that are higher than the couple who travel and aren't there all the time and don't have teenagers taking showers. So the one house is recovering more costs than the other house. Our costs are exactly the same to serve those 2 houses, to read the meters, trim the trees, maintain the lines, send out the bills. Everything Central Texas does to keep the lines on and provide excellent service to those customers, that's exactly the same. So what's happened here? If we design our rates to where our customer charge is not recovering a sufficient portion of our fixed cost, then the house with the family of 4 is heavily subsidizing the house with a family of 2, because they're buying a lot more kilowatt hours, and we're getting the billing through those variable charges. So I think it's just fairer. It just is fairer to our members to recover a fair amount of our fixed costs through the customer charge than it is to recover everything through the energy charge.
Now let's talk about your electric bill. Today, the average cost of a typical household using 1,000 kilowatt hours per month is just under $110, which is the lowest paid for this amount of usage since 2007. With our ability to negotiate favorable power contracts, CTEC and its members are well positioned for the future. As this graph indicates, if you use the same amount of electricity that you have been using, your bill will remain stable for the next 3 years. Power supply has always been and will always be the largest portion of your bill, which makes it a priority for your board of directors and staff. I am very proud and believe you should be happy with the decisions we have made on behalf of you and your co-op, and how it positions us for the future.
For over 11 years, members have been rounding up their electric bills to the next dollar and depositing the spare change into the Operation Roundup Trust. Individuals and organizations from the 11 counties served by CTEC apply throughout the year for grants when they need a little extra help. Volunteer Operation Roundup committee members ensure these donations are being put to good use. The average Operation Roundup contribution is only 50 cents per month, but this small monthly donation has allowed the program to award grants totaling over $118,000 since its inception. If you are not already rounding up your bill, now is a good time to help make a great program even better. If you sign up for Operation Roundup anytime between now and Labor Day, you will be entered into a drawing to win one of 3 $100 bill credits for new participants. On your way out tonight, stop by our Operation Roundup table and join our effort. You could also call or email any of our offices and simply tell them to sign you up. And if you're already a participant in Operation Roundup, tell your friends and neighbors about it. It's a wonderful way for neighbors to help neighbors.
We hope tonight's program has been informative and reassures you that your co-op is working in your best interest. As always, if you have a question, find a staff member and ask them. If they don't know the answer, they'll find someone who does. In closing, I would like to invite each and every one of you to your annual meeting on Tuesday, August 16th at the high school auditorium in Fredericksburg. Until that time, thank you and good evening.